Greetings and welcome. I hope all is well. I hope your day is going great. My name is Coach Veronica Marie, and I'm here to talk about falling in love and dating potential and all of the things that we do when we like people, right? All right. And so with that, you know, we all have dated, we all have fallen in love, we all have had this moment afterwards, like, what the hell happened? That wasn't supposed to be like that. Some people say they fell in love with the wrong person. Some people say they love too hard or they fall too fast and all this stuff. And that sounds really poetic. And if you like that, then keep it. But that's not really it. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing, liking this video, even sharing it. Connect with me on social media if you feel led. Just hashtag VeronicaMarie.com. I'm there. And if you need one-on-one coaching, you can find me on my website at VeronicaMarie.com. Remember that I do have an ebook out. It's called Self-Intimacy, The Beginner's Guide to Self-Discovery. And this is for anyone who really wants to deepen into the ways you react and behave in relationship with others, but begin with understanding how it happens inside of self. And that's so you can have a healthier and a happier relationship. I am working on a guide right now for empaths. It is called the Empowered Empath, and this guide is for empaths who want to help others but not be drained, not absorb, not spend hours listening to people share and walking away just feeling like thrown under the bus, right? All right, so let's jump straight on in. You didn't fall in love with the wrong person. You fell in love with potential. It's common when you first meet a person to really love some things about them or enjoy things about them. You may enjoy their voice, you may enjoy their eyes or the way they smell or the energy you feel when they are around. And I've taught this for years, and I'm going to continue to teach it because I think this is so important. Some people call this the representative. It's not a representative. Someone famous came up with that term, spread it around. And now everybody is talking about, I don't want your representative. Okay. But what that really is an aspect of the person, a persona. It's an aspect, right? We have many different aspects, hundreds, maybe thousands, who knows? So you met one aspect, let's say, is one out of 100, right? And so you grow to enjoy that aspect. You connect with it, you feel good with it, you love it, and you begin to envision a future, and that's where potential comes in. You begin to envision a future where you hear their voice every morning, let's say, or you hear them every night, or you smell them on your pillow. You begin to um, imagine a future with them as the main player. The problem is that the main character that you're casting, right, is not a whole person. You are trying to cast an aspect of the person into a role that you see fit, but understand there's a whole being that you must get to know. And so I've about this on other teachings. Then your emotions get heavily invested. You begin to, the more you envision a future, the more you begin to think, hey, this is the person for me, the more heavily your emotions connect and invest. However, like I said, that's one out of 100. So you have 100 different other aspects to learn, and you're not going to love all of them. Maybe you will. Let me take that back. Maybe you will love all of them. But most of the time, when you connect only on that one aspect, that one energy, that one vibe, you begin to focus on that, hone in on that. And then when the others come forward, sometimes you're like, where in the world did that come from? That wasn't this type of person, or I didn't sign up for this. Well, you didn't learn their other aspects. This is common when, number one, when people move really fast into relationships. Number two, this is common when people spend a long time together, but they don't know how to communicate. They're being together and they're creating memories, but they're not sharing a lot, and they definitely are not understanding a lot. So the focus here is not on time. Some people will be like, "Oh, I would never get into a relationship fast again." Well, there's some people who've been together 50 years and they still don't know one another because they don't know how to know another person. I have plenty of videos on this, so have a look at that if you want to get more involved in that topic. Just because you like a person, just because you see that they could be a good match in a particular part of your story, just because you can see a vision with them, you have hopes and all of these things, it does not mean that they are seeing the same thing with you. It doesn't mean they're having the same experience with you. It also doesn't mean that in reality there's alignment. See, when you start really honing in on potential, you move out of reality. You don't see that this person is saying, "Hey, I don't like this. I'm not going to do it." You don't see the signs of, "Hey, I'm not open to that," because you're in the future creating. And I know this from a professional level in coaching. I have experienced it where persons may be very interested in a certain aspect of me and they don't know how to facilitate communication. They don't really know how to hold and cultivate intimacy. And so as a result, they fall in love with their potential. And I'm out here just kind of gazing in the window while they have a relationship with the potential, And this, I have seen it. I've helped people through it. I have experienced it. I've also done it. Okay. So if you find yourself in this situation, take heart. It's a human experience. Nobody really tells us about this. But now that you're hearing more about it, you can hone in a little bit more. So somebody might say, well, I talk a lot to my person. There's a lot of people who are talking a lot, but they're not knowing each other any better. And the proof is when a hard time comes, can they talk through things? When challenging moments come, can they work through things to a point where they feel closer? Can they? Or do they just withdraw, retreat? Do they agree to disagree? Do they just not talk about the thing at all and it just kind of sits there? Do they have to resolve within themselves because they can't do it together? Like, so the proof is when the challenging time comes. When the challenging time comes, do you know how to talk? Do you know how to express? Do you know how to understand outside of your triggers? Do you know how to communicate a resolve? Do you know how to come together and create a resolve together rather than retreat, right? These are all more mature energies. And these are the energies that could lead more likely lead to longevity than residing somewhere in potential. So what is my advice? If you are already in a situation where you realize, hey, I'm in love with potential more than reality, then start paying attention to reality. Be present. Are you communicating well? Ask the person, do you feel I communicate well with you? Do you feel understood? And then be prepared for a no sometimes, because if you're just learning how to communicate, then that person may not feel heard or understood. You can ask them, do you feel we work through problems well? Like when we are done, do you feel resolved? Do you feel safe emotionally? Do you feel mentally safe? These questions are important. A lot of people, they have a problem, they talk about it, they disagree or whatever, they sweep it under the rug, walk away until the next time. Resentment is building, villainizing narratives are building, right? Disconnection is happening, all the while people are not having reality-based conversations. And then a lot of times, if one person is in potential and the other person is in reality, the person in potential, living in potential, according to potential, will get highly offended if the other person tells them, hey, that's not where I am, as if their potential is reality. Like they have even convinced themselves that it is reality. And somebody knows what I'm talking about, right? So if you know that you have gone forward in potential, or you don't know, you're unsure, you kind of feel like it, but maybe not, learn how to have conversations. Conversations are the backbone to any connection. Good conversations, deep conversations, thorough conversations, right? Because you can have a conversation with someone and walk away feeling like y'all never talked at all. And if you feel like that in your relationship, right, it's time for some more soulful conversation. Do you understand that concept? If you're practicing communication, you may not understand that well. You might need some coaching. You could pick up my self-intimacy book. Any topic in that book, if you take it in, right, internalize it, work through it, and then ask others about it, any of that will lead to a depth of understanding, any and all of it, right? I had a client who said, this book was so good to me that I probably want anyone I date to read it. Why? Because it fosters deep communication. We're not just communicating around trauma. A lot of people have trauma-based conversations, and that's okay. That's okay, because we need to have those conversations about what happened when you were young, what happened in your last relationship or your teenage years. All of that is important, right? But there is more to conversation. Some people go on the opposite extreme and they only want to love and light and talk about positive things. There's more than that also. I'm not talking about having conversations where you're trying to fix one another or pinpoint anything, just conversations to understand. Now, you may think, oh, that sounds so beautiful. I would love to do this, but understand that if you're not used to that level of communication, when a person asks you a question, you might get triggered, right? So you got to learn how to work with your triggers. Or when you ask them a question, they might get triggered, right? You know that they're triggered because they begin to act defensively rather than openly sharing. Right? You could question, like, did I ask an open-ended question, or did I ask an accusatory question? And if not, then maybe their trigger won't allow them to talk at that time. But can they circle back around? That's the question. Can they circle back around and have a full conversation? I spend my time talking about communication, not only because I see that it's essential for a healthy and happy life in relationships, but it's essential for your self-development to have good communication within and with others outside of you. I also spend a healthy amount of time talking about this because it's important to me. Right? Professionally, it's important that I communicate well with my clients clearly, right? It's important that I express empathy and compassion in ways that are healthy. It's important that I demonstrate what healthy communication can look like, healthy responses and such. It's also important to me in my everyday life when I teach my children. I want them to be healthy in communication. So if this is so very important to me altogether, I'm going to talk about it all the time, and I hope you benefit from it. So if you are watching this video and you're new, consider subscribing or liking the video. Do connect with me on social media. If you need some one-on-one coaching, hit my website, veronicamarie.com. Let's talk. What can you expect during a coaching session? I'm the type of coach where I'm going to bring you through strategically, right? It's intuitively strategic. That's the first thing. The second thing is I will never give you advice because I don't believe I know what's best for your life. But I do know how to help you get the clarity so that you can figure out what is best for your life. So we usually spend some time talking about whatever it is you want to talk about. Some people like to ask me after they finish talking, tell me what you hear, tell me what you think. I lay out dynamics. If they want to work through it, that's their choice. Then we lay out strategies. We only ever talk about what you want to talk about and what you're ready to talk about, because I don't believe in digging in the soul for anything. I believe the soul will give you exactly what you need when you need it. So that's what you can expect during coaching. You can expect to come away with some self-reflective work. You can expect to come away with insight about dynamics and personal influences and such, and you can expect to feel supported. All right, so that is it. I hope you enjoyed what we talked about today. If you are commenting on the live video, I won't see them because I'm on Zoom. So if you really want me to see your comment, go ahead and comment under the recording and I'll make sure to respond. All right. Well, y'all have a good evening.